racing today on Bushcombe Lane. This is not Bushcombe Lane. Sorry, I haven't filmed an intro on my phone because it's like 2.5 hours from home, so it was an early start. I got here a little later than I'd intended and just sort of flung stuff in the car, got on the bike, so I'm a bit out of sorts. You'll still see the race though. I forgot how steep it is. Any illusion of doing this on my hill climb bike has gone straight out the window. I thought maybe I'd get up it on a 34-25, but my warm-up with my 36-34, I could barely turn it at times, so I've made the right choice bringing my look even though it's heavier. I'm off at 10:53, right? I get off this busy road.
This is Bushcombe Lane, 1.14 kilometres at 13%, but that's never the full picture, is it? Look how steep it is, and VeloViewer is hugely underestimating the gradients here, I assure you. I have been nervous about this climb, and excited about this climb, because I thought I can't really do this on my hill climb bike. I'll whinge about this non-stop, but I just got my look out. For those of you who aren't super bike nerdy, the simple explanation is my hill climb bike, in order to be light, has such an old group set on that the gearing is horrendous. I wouldn't have been able to get up this hill. For those of you who like the numbers, it's a 34-25 as my smallest gear on my hill climb bike. At least on my look, I have a 36-34. So we're getting closer to that 1 ratio that we like. I just thought I'd include me descending the hill here for you to get a feel for the gradient, though video never does it justice, does it? What did do it justice was all the spectators, like the locals who live on the climb. And by the way, this was a closed road climb, which is awesome. And the locals came out to support, people walking their dogs and stuff. And not one of them missed the opportunity to say, "What on earth are you doing? Why are you cycling up this?" Even by my snobby Welsh standards, it is steep.
I'm ready to cool down halfway down.
So much so that I kept taking breaks on the descent because I was worried about my carbon rims. Maybe not delaminating, but on tubeless you can get little... basically you can warp the rim and lose your air, lose your sealant. I didn't want that to happen. You know that old adage of, don't drag your brakes, let them go and only brake hard when you need it. Well, this is like minus 33%. There is no not dragging.
It's alright, I do a little voiceover where I complain the whole time. No, go back and film it later, just like, oh, I hated this. This was really hard.
So this event was amazing for, like so many hill climbs, the people around. But this one's felt especially friendly whilst being very competitive. Lots of people were very focused at this in a way that maybe we weren't at Nebo Road, can I say that? I don't mean that at all critically, it was just different vibes. Rhiannon said the same. But everyone on the side of the road was amazing. So chatty, so lovely. At the end of this, I met a really nice guy called Ed who said he watches the videos. Shout out if you watch this, Ed. Just seemed like such a friendly, nice person, and what a cyclist. Like, leagues ahead of where I'll ever be, but not a hint of ego about him. And at the bottom of the hill, actually, I meet another person who watches the videos, which I find mad. I only make these because I enjoy the way they make me feel about riding my bike. I get to live it a little bit more. So to have people watch them and say, oh, I like that you're not trying to be a professional YouTuber, was all the endorsement I needed. Absolutely buzzing about that. So that was Paul, legend. This is me having my last minute run for a wee stop. Kit off, come back, race ready. Off we go. So I've put in advance, this is just the ride to the race. I will get going for the race in a sec, I promise. I've only put this in so I can prepare you in advance. This felt like, what's it called? The final whatever yards as you're on death row, going to the line. I don't perform very well in this, and I'm a little bit disappointed, and as I talk you through the race as I go up, I'll probably forget to address any of that. So at the very end of this video, I've put in a load of photos of fun stuff me and Rhiannon did this weekend. We went into Bath afterwards and just did tourism. And I hope at the end of this you'll see the messages, even if you do badly for yourself, even if you're disappointed, we all just race bikes for fun, right? And I had so much fun at this. When I think about my time, I get that little sinking feeling, like, oh, that was poor. But 3 years ago, I would have rated the success of my weekend on that. And actually, I met so many nice people here. I had fun cycling up a stupid steep hill as hard as I could. And that turned out to be bad, but I had fun. And then I went and had an awesome weekend seeing a beautiful place, eating some nice food, drinking some good coffee. So I hope, as you're about to watch me slag myself off for over 5 minutes, because I'm shit, you'll at least realise there's a lot of optimism in this video. I just had a really nice time. So as you can see, the road is closed. I think that's awesome. You don't often get hill climbs like this, and on such a steep climb it is important. It'd be really hard if you met a car coming the other way, so that's great.
How are you doing? I haven't done it before. I've ridden up it before, plenty, but I've never raced it. It's a little bit far from. I'm from Merseyside, so yeah, okay. Come on down, because honestly, my only reason is my girlfriend bought me a scratch-off sheet of £100 in the UK, and I've not done it. And she's like, "Why aren't you doing these?" So, well, fine. I'll drive 2.5 hours then. Guys.
It's all about the video then.
Yeah.
Ready for the gram.
Exactly. I've got at least 10 followers on YouTube. I've got to keep them happy.
I couldn't decide what gear to start in, so I just went relatively easy. Admin, before we get started, I have left the route course thing well off the screen, and I apologise for that. Also, the power is more out than I realised. Garmin Verve's getting harder and harder to use, so I apologise for the poor syncing here. I started with an aspiration to not go too hard. Then I panicked and doubted that strategy and did 500 watts for a little bit, which was not very clever, and then remembered that there's a good reason for that strategy and stopped doing 500 watts again. Knowing this climb would be in and around the 5-minute area for me, I was hoping for less. I wanted to pace 400 watts. However, I always want to be clever with my pacing and to save the most watts for the steepest part. That makes sense, but actually on a climb like this, it probably doesn't, because even here where I'm not on the steepest part, I'm going so slowly that the air resistance inverse square law doesn't really matter. If you're not a hill climb nerd, don't worry. Basically, the faster you go, the less return you get for more power, so you save your highest powers for the slowest bits, but all of this is so slow. I probably didn't need to save anything. When we talked later, Rhiannon said, "Oh, I could tell you were holding something back to me because you were a lot slower than quite a lot of other people." And actually, I was just a lot slower than quite a lot of other people. Here's all the photos she took of me, though. I thought it was nice that they actually show the gradient a little bit better than the footage does, even though we're saying, oh, like 16, 17, 18%. You lose track of what that means. I was concerned about sort of RPM. I used to get really pissy in these videos, didn't I, when people would be like, "Oh, 60 RPM, your knees aren't going to be well." Says people from countries with no hills. Like, every hill climber rides at 60 RPM sometimes. Nonetheless, I was trying to save my low cadence stamping for what I knew would be the steepest part, because I didn't want to burn those muscles that are really torquey, do you know what I mean? Okay, I knew from here onwards it was okay. Basically, this was going to be the hardest minute or two. So I'm fully out the saddle. Cadence is dropping, although I'm in my easiest gear now. Okay, so I've got a gear ratio of 1 to 1.06 or whatever a 34, 36 is. So I'm so glad that I didn't do this on my hill climb bike. Can you imagine what I'd have been doing with a 34-25 here? Throwing the bike around, cadence is slowly dropping. Now you have to try and pick your best line around here. I wish I'd seen the really fast guys to see how they did this, if they just... Sometimes if you watch Feather... Sorry, that's an incomplete sentence. Sometimes if you watch Feather, it looks like he is immune to the environment around him, because he just flies up anything. Doesn't matter about gradient. Whereas I'm wobbly and picking a line. I wonder what the really quick people up here would have been doing. So you can see I got below 60 RPM in my smallest gear around that corner. And I knew that as you turn that corner, it stays steeper than you think. It's not over yet until basically where you can see the light through the trees. So I thought, oh well, I'll invest one final kick here. And this, I think this is really my mistake. If you look at the time, you're going, but Nick, you're barely halfway through this. And yet, I've spent a match too many by not just sticking to the 400 watts that I know would be sustainable for this time. I've gone well over, and I've paid for it, and now look, I'm doing below threshold. Still on a really steep section, so I'm just hemorrhaging speed. I just had nothing else to give, but maybe if I hadn't have gone into those upper 400s there, I would have. It's just heat of the moment, all those people on the corner, and then, I mean, this bit feels flat. It's a bit like the cattle grid area of Bushcombe, for those who know it, where we say, oh, it's a bit of respite because it's only 10%. This bit is actually flatter than that. There's even a little descent, and it's mostly sort of 5 to 7%. But it pitches back up. You have to kick. And it's not as bad as I thought. I was determined to not lose speed, and I'm sorry if you get seasick here, because I was doing everything I could to just keep power cranking through those pedals, hence throwing the bike around a lot more. Trying to get down here and take any aero advantage I can, but look, I'm doing 20 kilometers an hour. What aero advantage do I think I'm getting? I should have just stayed out the saddle and stomped. So yeah, pretty hard. You go over that cattle grid, and I knew it was nearly over. And I sort of capitulated, if I'm honest. It's just not good enough power here, is it? I needed to be doing 400 all the way to the line, even if that meant getting out the saddle for this whole bit and losing what little aero advantage I think I'm gaining. But still, I pushed on through. I remembered to shout my number, unlike Nebo Road. Nice to see these nice people. And then I turned around, and I just absolutely collapsed. I thought you might like to see heavy breathing, hands flopping in front of me, and my legs started twitching, so I didn't continue riding because my legs were just like, full twitch mode. So I came in 15th, no shame in that result, and big shout out to Ed, by the way, coming in 8th. That's a storming ride. Great work, mate. What I'm disappointed in is my power. It was well below what I should have been doing for a 5-minute max effort, basically because I just paced it wrong, as I always do, and I really paid for it, so something to reflect on. But you know what, I only do this for a laugh, so try not to be too hard on myself. As I say, here's what a great weekend we had, just drinking coffee, eating food, going to beautiful places, enjoying the tourism. Never forget to have fun with your hobby is the message I want this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it, and next week I'll be on the Burway. Ed'll be there again, so he'll smash me, and I'll show you how I do in Shropshire. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.